We have the second game in the matchup between APK Prince and Sandbox Gaming of the first week of LCK play in 2020 right here. Sandbox Gaming having won the first game quite convincingly, looking to close out the series cleanly. So we see some nice early game shenanigans in the bot lane here. Gorilla already chunked a little bit low there, but should be comfortable on his Nautilus in that lane. Already healing up again with the potion. Taking a quick look at the team compositions, APK this time around with the set, which has of course been a power pick for Sandbox in the first game. The Lee Sin in the jungle and the aggressive bottom lane indicates to me that this time around they're looking not to get rolled again in the early game and instead put up a fierce fight already early on. Nice poke coming down here onto Leo already. On the other side, Sandbox not backing down either with the Renekton in the top lane, who could potentially swing that top lane matchup in his favor. And the Rek'Sai jungle again for OnFleek, who picked up player of the game in game 1, deservingly so, looking to repeat his performance in the good jungle matchup against the Lee Sin. Early on, both junglers just clearing out their red sides, both of them hitting level 3, Rek'Sai obviously being the faster clearing one, already on its way down to the bottom side on the blue buff, and maybe looking to get some early action going on the bottom side of the map. We can see Ryze getting in a quick cheater recall in the middle lane, shoving out the waves, and therefore being able to complete his tier already 3 minutes into the game. Both junglers right now in the bottom lane, but Secret already taken low, the heal being burned, flash from Flawless onto Gorilla, who flashes out himself, and the teleport being burned actually here by Dove. Coming in, Leo flashes forward aggressively, Dove follows suit, and that's first blood going over to the Aphelios. Sandbox already in the lead again. APK beaten out on their own play once more. OnFleek not quite ready in time to reciprocate the aggression by Flawless, but Dove coming in with the teleport, bailing out his bottom lane. And you have to put in question the target selection by APK here, going onto Gorilla with the Aftershock. Secret flashing forward aggressively though onto Leo, who just cleanses it off, moves backwards, and that's Leona going down as well. OnFleek picking up his first kill of the game and kinda really just wasting his teleport here, looking to follow the example of Dove early on, but not succeeding in accomplishing anything. The trades on the top lane still rather close, although Summit ends up coming out on top with the Renekton. Is expected to win this matchup early on. Really only a handful of champions that could contest the Crocodile in the early parts of the laning phase. Let's see how APK is going to look to recover from this. Maybe through the top lane something would be possible, but again we see Summit just laying down the terror onto Ixu, flashing forward, getting him to a little bit of health, but OnFleek comes in, finishing him off, and now it's Sandbox winning in all 3 lanes already again. The knockup comes in too, and that's the double kill for OnFleek, looking to just clinch that Player of the Game award 2 games in a row. And this is Ixu being forced to teleport. Now no more summoner spells for map movement on the side of APK available, which makes it so much harder for them to crawl the way back into this. Kinda really the only one who still has yet to die on their squad and sits comfortably in his lane. Maybe through him something would be possible, but we see once more in the top lane, Ixu just won't win those trades in the early part of the laning phase. Going way overly aggressive here, and OnFleek just cashes in those 3 kills. Flawless not able to even put up a fight really. In this 2v2 they are never going to come out on top unless they had some item advantages, which of course they are far from having at this point. Ninja Tabi already completed for the Renekton means he won't ever die in this 1v1 situation anymore, and can potentially even look to 2v1 now that he has hit the level 6 spike with the Dominus available to him. Potentially through the bottom lane, APK could still manage to find a way back into this. Leona Misfortune, of course, strong early duo still. With the kill on the Aphelios, that should be quite a bit harder though. Flawless would need to make a perfect gank happen here, but we can see he isn't even really looking to gank in these kind of situations because he's well aware that Leo and Gorilla together probably can just burst down any one of APK's players at this point in time. So this is Sandbox once more establishing their early game dominance. OnFleek really just continuing where he left off at the end of last season, claiming that Drake early on in the game. We can see Dove roaming down with the once again claimed mid lane priority, and Sandbox clinching those early objectives. Trading in the top lane still going fine. We see in the jungle matchup, if you compare those two players real quick, OnFleek almost completed on his jungle item already, whereas Flawless only sitting on that longsword in addition to his skirmishes saber. It looks real grim for the side of the newly promoted APK Prince, who have not managed to, well, get themselves a promising start into their still very young LCK careers. The first split for them in the league. And Sandbox, who were in the same position 1 year ago, now just showing them why they are the real deal and the original Challenger Series upstarts. Some not even scared to move aggressively in that 1v2 situation, knowing that the backup of his own jungler is right around the corner. Now the Warriors enchantment completed on the Rek'Sai means wherever he is on the map, APK need to just back off, or they are even in danger of getting dove as OnFleek even pressures away Flawless from his own jungle camps now. And Sandbox, still we can see Flawless taken low, forced to flash out, not respecting the damage, but that's a long range ultimate from OnFleek here, who might have overstepped his boundaries and donates over the shutdown bounty for 450 gold to Kaine, who might be the saving grace for APK in this matchup if anything is supposed to happen. Secret taking the re-engage in the bottom lane. I'm not sure if that's where he wants to be right now, trading his Ignite for the Clans of Leo. Still, satisfying trade for the side of APK. Leo managing to heal up a little bit with his potions still, but that was a close one down there. Maybe had he held his Ignite a little bit longer and forced Leo to Cleanse of the CC, he could have then followed it up with the Burning Summoner spell, and maybe could have had enough damage to force the kill onto the Sandbox ADC. However, as he did not choose to do that, all lanes for Sandbox still sort of winning, although OnFleek might need to tone it down a little bit and not dive the enemy jungler underneath the tier 1 mid lane turret next time around. Summit on the top lane, trying to set up a little freeze. Wave probably won't freeze though, with only those two caster minions remaining. So we can see once more the burst coming onto Flawless. OnFleek just with an enormous range on his ultimate right there. That looked real weird. And Dove even burning his ultimate to help out his jungler, but to no avail. Not there in time, and even closed in on by Ixu. Managing to hold onto his slash though, luckily. Lost Chapter coming in for Ryze in the middle lane, which means he will have permanent priority in the mid lane, shoving it in all the time. And APK actually try to match the aggression for Sandbox right now, shifting up their bot lane attention to the top side, whereas OnFleek is already diving again onto Ixu. No chance for the APK top laner to even get out of that with his own flash. And Secret caught out once more. His Aftershock now on cooldown. Summit still with the flash available on the Renekton. Could look to flash stun a target for the empowered Renekton stun, which would mean guaranteed follow up by the sides of OnFleek and Dove. Which is why APK ultimately decide that they are not able to contest this Herald pickup. Flawless might think about it twice. No, decides against going in. Well, now the team's moving in and all the teleports are being burned. We might look at the final decisive team fight even. The Gorilla in the middle of the fight burning his stopwatch, and it's already the retreat for APK. One player dropping down, the bullet time being cancelled out by Hybrid, and They only lose one member, but this was really a fight they were never going to win, at least. A positive summoner spell trade in terms of teleports. Ixu burning his, forcing out the ones from Summit and Dove. But Sandbox now already able to take down the turret in the middle lane. The two members of APK will not be able to hold on to this one. And alongside the freshly picked up Herald, Sandbox just move in and take down that first objective in the middle lane, which is a really unusual start. Both sideline turrets still at 5 platings, none even scratched, as so much action revolved around the middle portion of the map. You have the 1 and 7 kill score, and there's now a Brazilian number of ways for Sandbox to close out this match. 5 and 1 on the Rek'Sai, looking to even pick up his second item on the Black Cleaver soon. As we take once more a little bit of a look on this teamfight, but there's really nothing exciting to see. Gorilla going onto Hybrid, zoning out the entire backline of the enemy team and going golden just in time for his own team to arrive. The Sacrificial Lamb in the form of Secret. Poor him having engaged onto the enemy team with no follow-up from his own side due to the Nautilus zoning everyone away. Just ends up dropping down to the 0-0 scoreline. And really only Kaini holding up in the middle lane with the 1-0. Slowly building himself up into the game, but the Victor really at least needing 2, if not 3 or 4 items to really impact the map in a major sense. So does Rise though, which is why Sandbox can be happy, having accelerated the game on other sides of the map where the champions come on more quickly, such as the Rek'Sai with the 5 kills, or the Ephelios already having picked up 2 for himself, sitting on those Essence Reaver portion items. Should be able to finish that up the next time he goes to base. Ixu once more not respecting the map movement from Sandbox though, and just getting Death charged on, Dominist on, tries to make his way out with a flashy little ult there, getting some big true damage onto the enemy team, and on fleek almost going down, but not quite enough for Ixu. Nice try there actually with the Haymaker, but on fleek could have ulted earlier and avoided a large chunk of that damage. Doesn't need to ultimately, and picks up another kill and turret for his team. As turret platings have now dropped, we can expect turrets to fall more quickly, at least as per usual in the LCK. The outer turrets should go down rather quickly. The outer turrets for the losing team, that is. And for the second tier turrets, we are either looking for explosive team fighting, which is not that far-fetched considering we're in a Sandbox gaming game, or a Baron pickup, which is more unusual for the LCK, as they don't tend to focus on that early on and rather like to choke out the enemy team via map pressure, pushing lanes, picks in the jungle, vision control, etc. The lane setup now all standard. The solo laners and the side lanes for APK just trying to pick up any farm they can get, but obviously in the constant threat of getting flanked on by the terrifying Rek'Sai, as illustrated by OnFleek nicely once more. Flawless, not even able to enter his own jungle, and Secret now being forced to flash out as well. This one looks like a done deal to me. I don't see a way back into this for APK. Even through teamfights in the later stages of the game, it will be hard. They would have to individually outperform Sandbox, who have just throughout the series looked a little bit more competent, I'd say, in the teamfighting department, as well as the just 1v1 portion of the game. The total damage dealt by Summit and OnFleek is just something else too, with those huge damage numbers on the early game champions. 7 and 1 Rek'Sai, 5 assist Renekton, who has been a good team player and not claimed any kills for himself. Ixu He's going to have a long way ahead of him if he wants to get back into this game on that bruiser pick of set. 3 deaths so far. Not even completed on the Black Cleaver yet, while the counterpart of Renekton is already looking to finish up the Sterex gauge the next time he's willing to return to base. Seraph's Embrace fully stacked for Rise 2 means ability power numbers that are larger than you might expect at this point in the game. And really just pressure on all 3 lanes onto APK. We can see now in the top and bottom side of the map too. Both players shoving in the waves on almost the exact same spot of the map, which means APK will have to catch those at roughly the same point in time. We see right now the top wave being shoved into. Yeah, and that means Victor is going to make his way up into the top lane, which means the Herald is going to be uncontested as both side lanes are being pushed in. That was nicely set up by Sandbox, shoving in those side lanes right at the same time, disabling APK. Albeit the ward at the Herald, they cannot move into the area at all. So it's the second Herald going over to Sandbox Gaming, and another dragon coming up shortly too, which would already mean 3 dragons for the red side team. And an imposing danger of the Ocean Soul pickup would just seal the fate of APK, probably once and for all. They're now trying to put up some sort of a fight for the dragon, it seems. I'm not sure if they're actually willing to commit hard on this. Pushing out the middle wave and moving into the river, it seems as though they were actually looking to make something happen here. We can see Dove slowly making his way up into the middle lane and the river too from the top side of the map. Upon realizing this, APK decide to move backwards and are not quite as eager anymore to pull the trigger on the fight. Summit just threatening them up there with this rank 2 ultimate and the large health bar on his side. It seems as though APK had at least managed to frighten Sandbox away from the immediate dragon pickup, but should a fight erupt here, I predict Sandbox would be able to close it out quite comfortably and take the dragon for themselves. So APK need to really be careful with forcing any of those and maybe just try to get a pick on some Sandbox member who oversteps his safety zone a little bit. It seems as though Sandbox are moving quite cohesively though, not giving any windows of opportunity to the side of APK, and this Dragon Dance has been going on for about 2 minutes now, with APK not decisively pulling the trigger, and now Sandbox picking up the dragon, even looking to fight this. The ult comes in from the set, pulling Gorilla back into his own backline. He's dropping low, but Set is actually the first one to go down. Bullet Time not doing much if anything, and Secret the second one to follow suit. 2 people already dead on the side of APK, and OnFleek continuing the chase, cutting off APK from their own base. Dove ulting in Summit into the enemy team. Renekton already quite low, but it doesn't matter. He's still a threat in itself, and forcing everyone on APK back. That's a couple of more summoners blown. Kaini being forced to flash there. Misfortunes here burned too. And it just went from bad to worse to horrible for APK. Not being able to contest the dragon and even getting caught up in a pointless fight afterwards too. Just some indecisive action right there. Flawless trying to insect Leo into the team, but he just flashes out and isn't bothered at all. Really just burning his cleanse for good measures as well, I suppose. Nobody really able to threaten the Sandbox carry line. Even with Ixu getting into the backline there in Secret, trying to land down the solar flare, it doesn't seem as though Sandbox are really ever in the threat of losing their carry line. And still only the 1 death standing on their side for OnFleek when he sort of overcommitted in the top to middle portion of the map earlier on. Gorilla now overstepping a little bit though. Nice juke on the Sonic Wave means he stays alive, and Summit can continue trading aggressively on the bottom portion of the map in the isolated 1v1. With Baron now having spawned, it makes sense to just put the Renekton or the Ryze in the bottom side. Maybe even go down there as 2 and force a kill on an Ixu who might not expect both solo laners to show up. And the double teleport would potentially allow them to pull off such a setup, which is something G2 like to do at the end of the last season as well. Some map movement that they were quite famous for. The Sandbox decided to instead just look at an early Baron pickup, baiting in the side of APK to check and try to stop them from taking it down. Summit now having grouped up with this team, but Gorilla finds the CC onto the enemy jungler actually, which means the Baron is picked up cleanly by the side of Sandbox, who now decide to sort of engage from the bottom side of the map up. They all get just caught up in the bullet time and they lose a member, trading 1-for-1 so far. Lucky for them, only one of the players goes down, but that Rambo from the side of Sandbox was way too aggressive, allowing for a clean setup from the side of APK to just land the solar flare for free and getting the dunk by Ixu set as well with the bullet time. I mean, Sandbox burning their fingers on that play really. OnFleek still looking to make something happen though, going over the wall with the tunnel potentially. Hybrid alone in the middle lane, getting flashed on and nowhere out of there for him. Realizes his death, admitting his fault, and OnFleek just styling on him, picking up the style points with his own ultimate. The Hail of Blades Rek'Sai really making the difference in this early game, and I don't know if you can argue for anyone else picking up play of the game for this one. OnFleek just dominating the entirety of the map, getting leads in every single lane, the mid lane indirectly too, and Sandbox now just playing a little bit with their food, deciding whether or not to set up a 3-lane push, not going into the top lane for now, instead waiting for their own minions to counter push from the tier 1 turret, and focusing on the middle and bottom side of the map, where there's still the tier 2 turret standing, guarding their minions into the middle lane. Leo, of course, being the one to have died in the previous team fight, means he can't empower his minions. Gorilla staying by his side in order to do so. And the bottom lane tier 2 turret now finally falling, which means we can expect a reset from the side of Sandbox and a repetition of this setup with 1 or 2 people going to the top lane in order to take down the second tier turret there as well. Another look at this team fight shows that the Baron was secured without any contest, but then the Rambo just way too close to all of the members of APK, and Ixu gets the huge haymaker in combination with the solar flare and the bullet time. And Sandbox can really be lucky to only have lost one of their members in this situation. And we get another look at the pro view for OnFleek, flashing onto his opposing player, and one comboing in cleanly. In the live cam on the bottom side, we see another dragon pickup, and that's the Ocean Soul, which means I expect Flawless to try to suicide in order to steal that objective if he can. Not landing the Sonic Wave means he can't even get into the pit, or decides against doing so with the Blast Cone. And that's just the Ocean Soul being picked up by Sandbox, and at this point I don't even know how APK are expecting to win this game. The flash forced by the huge ultimate by the side of Leo, and Ixu decides to dive into the backline anyway, burns the stopwatch and is just taken out in the process, and this is probably already the game point for Sandbox, flashing on to Kaini, who manages to flash out himself. The retreat is full on going, and Durf decides he is now having none of that and still chases after the enemy support mid-duo, not managing to kill off either one, but forcing them to retreat to their own platform and heal up. The inhibitor in the middle lane being taken out, and Sandbox decide to take it slowly, lick their wounds on the low health bars, and instead push in the top side for a clean methodical victory in this one. Not pushing too far. Flawless, biting off a little bit more than he can chew maybe, but Summit decides caution is the play for him right here. APK now looking to punish though the slow retreat of Sandbox, even teleporting in, and Gorilla is the one to be dropped. Sandbox OnFleek should be fine with his tunnels, probably being pulled back by Ixu though, and going into the stopwatch. Ixu is now the one who's once more in danger and taken out by Dove. The ult coming out from OnFleek onto Kaini, who has no flash, remember, from the play before, but nobody else deciding to chase after the victor means he's going to walk out more or less safely. No, he isn't. OnFleek decides he's having none of that, going on to the victor, but again with a nice gravity field, not able to be taken out without the assist of Dove and Leo, who finally inflict the first death of the game to the victor too. The Summit burning his TP into the bottom side. I'm not quite sure why he would even do that. There's really nothing to gain down here, but he's just pushing in the waves. Probably tired of the game still going on, trying to close it out as quickly as possible. Ixu with the desperation engaged at this point, you have to feel like Gorilla just CCing him down. Here we see the veteran support of Sandbox taken out by the victor, but overall still a positive play for the side of Sandbox Gaming, getting the TP out of Ixu and just taking down him and the victor as well in the process, meaning that APK didn't even get an edge out of their own teleport play, and now really have no realistic way back into this anymore, which they haven't had for a long time, if we're being honest. Another depth charge in lifetime being put out onto Secret, who flashes away, but still not in safety, as OnFleek flashes forward, getting the knockup onto Flawless, but he just safeguards away to his Leona and manages to get a positive sum on the trade out of this one, trading the flash on the Rek'Sai for the flash on the Leona. Still, after all, still Sandbox able to pick up the Baron without any contest, having full control over the river and middle side. APK just forced to watch as the hopes slip away slowly but steadily. The base already having been cracked. 2 minutes more on the middle inhibitor to respawn, which means Sandbox can now focus on the side lanes, shove those into the base of APK, and press upon them with all the force of 3 potential Baron empowered waves of super minions. The second inhibitor on the top lane having gone down, APK now probably figuring out where they are looking to make their final stand in this one, when they are going to finally pull the trigger and try to make something happen, but it seems as though they aren't able to fight any windows. Solar Flare goes wide too. That's the Chaos Storm by Victor already out. He's gone down, and that's probably the game as Sandbox pick up 1 more kill, 2 more kills, and that's probably 3 more kills. Yeah, there we go. Ixu diving in one last time. Summit going to the platform, managing to survive even in its 4-for-0 kills. And a dead Nexus for Sandbox Gaming, who start up their LCK 2020 Spring Split cleanly with a 2-0 victory over the rookies of APK. GG's to the side of Sandbox.